Hello, my name's Astrid, and I'm a 60-year-old woman. I recently disowned my son because he tried to essentially poison me. I feel like I've lost my child, and while things are better, I still can't help but look back. So I figured I'd just share my story with you. I had my son, Damon, at the age of 21. We were really close, especially considering that I didn't work for a long time because my husband took care of us financially. When Damon was around 12, I went back to studying and got myself a degree. That allowed me to start working, and I got myself a pretty good job. My pay, along with my husband's, meant that we had a pretty solid amount of savings. We invested in a lot of things, and I'm still reaping the benefits of them today. Anyway, my husband got diagnosed with cancer when Damon was 16 and passed away a year after his diagnosis. Damon and I were shattered. It took us a long time to fully heal, but Damon had made up his mind to do medicine for college. He had watched how kind the nurses were to my husband during his final days, and Damon decided that that was how he wanted to be. In college, Damon met his now ex-wife. The both of them got married shortly after graduating, and his wife got pregnant with my granddaughter, June. Damon had just started working, and his shifts were at very odd times, and that put a lot of stress on his relationship with his wife. But they worked through it. Things started to come together for them when Damon's wife got a brilliant job offer in another state. The three of them moved there, and I only ever saw them during the holidays after that. That's how things were for the next 16 years. Until one day, Damon caught his wife cheating on him. He had come back home unexpectedly early and caught her in bed with her co-worker. Suffice it to say, that marriage ended pretty badly. Since his ex-wife earned more money than him, she bought their house and had everything written in her name, so he had practically no right to it. She also happily gave up custody of June. Damon ended up coming back to our hometown after the divorce was finalized. He looked like a mess, and so did June. I offered to let them stay with me, but Damon insisted on getting an apartment for him and June. I helped them out as much as I could, and within a few months they didn't need me over as often. They began to settle in, and June went back to high school with ease. One day Damon called me while I was at work. "Hey, Mom." "Hi, sweetie. How's everything going? Are you settling in well?" "Oh, yeah, everything's going well." "And how's June? Is she making friends in school?" "June's a social butterfly. She's always got a whole friend group. In fact, I think it's only been a handful of times that I've returned home to only the two of us at home." "Well, that's good to hear. I'm glad things are working out for both of you." "Yeah, it's been a tough year, to say the least, but you made the move here easier than it would have been." "Nonsense." "No, June has taken to cooking recently, and she makes these lovely dishes. So while we can't do much to show you how much we appreciate you, we can most definitely provide you with some good dinners." "Oh, Damon, there's no need for all that. Let June focus her energy on studying right now. And there's no need to do anything to show me you appreciate my help. Just seeing both of you living happily is more than enough." "No, Mom, I insist. June would love to have you over as well." "All right. I would love to spend more time with both of you anyway." "Great. I'll come pick you up at around 6 p.m. this weekend." No, I'll drive over, but I'll see you there." "See you, Mom." I was genuinely touched by Damon's offer, and I was excited to spend time with both of them. When the weekend came, I went over with a bottle of wine and some chocolates for June. Damon and June greeted me warmly, and then Damon and I sat down to drink some wine. I tried to go into the kitchen and help June out as she finished cooking the meal and setting it up, but Damon insisted that I sit with him instead. Dinner was absolutely lovely. June cooked a lovely meal that was something straight out of a movie. She even made dessert. Damon kept asking me if everything was all right with the meal, and I assured him that it was. I left shortly after dinner, and while I was driving, my stomach started to hurt. Now, I don't usually get stomach aches because I take very good care of my gut health, so I knew that something was seriously wrong. I tried to power through the pain, but then I began to feel lightheaded. I knew immediately that I was having some sort of allergic reaction, so I parked at the side of the road and quickly administered my EpiPen to myself. When I began to feel a little better, I carefully drove myself to the ER. I couldn't help but wonder what the cause was. I was only allergic to sesame and tree nuts, both of which Damon knew of, so I was sure that he didn't let June put those in the food. The doctors quickly checked me in and took my vitals to make sure that I was going to do okay. They asked me to stay back for the night just to make sure that I was not going to go into anaphylactic shock later. Once I was alone in my room, I called Damon to inform him about my situation. "Mom, did you reach home safely?" "Damon, I don't want you to freak out, but I'm in the hospital right now." "What? What happened?" "Well, I don't know. On my way home, I began to feel really queasy and my skin became itchy. And I began to feel really lightheaded. I immediately knew that it was an allergic reaction." "Oh my God. Did you have your EpiPen with you?" "Oh yes, thankfully. I never leave home without it, but I managed to get myself to the hospital after I administered it to myself." "What's the doctor saying?" "Everything's fine, but they've kept me here just to make sure that I'll be okay." "Okay, that's good." "Did June have any tree nuts or sesame in her food?" "No, not anything that I know of." "Did you eat something on the way back home?" "I didn't." "Do you think there must have been some sort of cross-contamination?" "I don't think so. I made sure June only cooked with freshly opened ingredients." "That's concerning then. You know what? I'm too tired to think about it. We'll just figure it out another time." "Yes, you just take your time and recover well. I'm so sorry that happened to you. I'll swing by right now and check in on you." "Oh, that's all right, sweetie." No, I insist. I'll be more careful next time. At least I hope you'll come over again another time. June was really happy that you liked her food." "Of course I'll come over again. What happened today was just an unfortunate mishap. Besides, I loved the food and I loved spending time with you guys even more." "I'm glad. I'll see you in a bit, Mom. Just get some rest until then." Damon came over rather fast and he stayed with me for a while. He made sure I was doing okay before leaving. I managed to fall asleep and went back home the next day. I was fine after that, and Damon kept calling to ensure that I was okay. It felt nice to have him care for me that much. About a week later, Damon and June invited me over again for dinner. June seemed unfazed about what happened, and I didn't dwell on it too much. Once again I tried to help June in the kitchen, but Damon insisted that I didn't help. Dinner was lovely again, but just like last time, on my way home, I got severely sick. I remember thinking that it was more than a coincidence that it happened again. I discussed it with Damon when he came to visit me in the hospital again, but he dismissed all of my concerns. I figured that I was overthinking it and let it go, although I did tell Damon that I was going to forego dinner the next week. Damon seemed upset, but agreed with me. I was completely and utterly fine for the next week, but then the week after, when I went over to Damon's again for dinner that June cooked, I got sick. I knew I wasn't being paranoid at that point. That was more than just a coincidence. I didn't bring it up with Damon when he came to visit me because I didn't want to be convinced that I was crazy. I figured that June was the one doing something to the food. She never seemed too concerned about what happened to me and never even once asked how I was feeling. The only question I had about the whole thing was why she was doing it. Was she upset about something? Was she secretly unhappy about her move to this town, and so she was lashing out at me? Or even worse, did she actually want to see me suffer? I knew that all the answers to my questions would come the next time I went over to Damon's for dinner. When Damon called again to invite me, I accepted the invite and made my way over. Once again, Damon insisted that I stay with him to talk. When I stood my ground and asked to go help June, he made me come with him to his office so I could stop myself from watching June cook because he thought that I felt bad about not helping. I figured my best course of action would be to go with him and then sneak back out into the kitchen. While in his office, we were talking about plans for the upcoming holidays, and at some point I excused myself to go to the washroom. I excused myself to go to the bathroom. I quickly walked over to the kitchen. I got there just in time to see June pouring some sesame oil into a pan and frying some fritters in it. Well, 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 what do we have here? Oh, Grandma, hi! Why are you here? I thought you and Dad were talking about something in his room. Yes, we were, but I came down here to check what you were making. I'm sure you know that for the past few weeks, every time I came over to eat food with you, I went home extremely sick. Oh, really? I didn't know that. If you didn't, why do you have a bottle of sesame oil? You know I'm allergic to it. You are? I didn't know that. Stop playing dumb, June. Why are you purposely poisoning me? Grandma, I swear I had no idea that you were allergic to sesame. I didn't even know that you were getting sick. Your dad usually came over to meet me after. Did you not think it was suspicious? He wouldn't tell me where he was going. I didn't think much of it because I would usually be so tired from the cooking that I would stay in my room. Does your dad know that you've been putting sesame oil in my food? Well, yeah. He bought this the night before we invited you for dinner for the first time. What? Yeah, he insisted on me using it. Every time we invite you over, he makes sure I use it. He told me to do it because you love the taste, apparently. Oh, my God. Why would he do that? I have no idea. I'm genuinely really sorry. Will you be upset if I leave right now? I just need time to process all this and figure out how to confront your dad. I won't mind, but Dad is going to get upset. I mean, I could make you something else and you could pretend like everything's fine. I really don't want to be here right now. I'll just get going. Tell your dad I tasted some of the food you just made, and over the course of our conversation I began to feel sick. All right. I'm really sorry, Grandma. It's okay, sweetie. I quickly ran out. My heart raced as I started the car and drove off. I couldn't believe what June had told me. Suddenly, all the times that Damon insisted on me staying to talk with him and his blatant dismissal of my concerns made sense. The only thing running through my mind was why he would do something like that. Over the next few days, Damon kept trying to reach out to me by call, but I ignored him. I didn't know how I would confront him about the whole thing. I didn't even know if I'd be able to hold myself together while confronting him. But Damon showed up at my door one day and asked me where I had been. Mom, where have you been? I've just been at home. Why? No, I mean, you haven't been answering my calls and you just skipped dinner that day. Yeah, my health started acting up again. Are you doing okay? Why does that matter? You don't want that, do you? What on earth are you talking about? You're my mother. Of course I want you to be okay. Wow, you've mastered the art of lying, huh? You have some nerve to do it to my face. Are you seriously okay? You're spewing a bunch of nonsense. Look, I know what you've been doing, Damon. Give up the act. I don't want to see you again. What are you talking about? I'm talking about you making June put sesame oil in the food while knowing that I'm allergic to it. I forgot. Lies. You insisted that June put the oil in the food. You lied to the poor June as well and told her that I loved the taste of that oil. Did she tell you all this? It doesn't matter now, does it? Why did you do it? Ugh, fine. I did it because I wanted my inheritance. So you wanted me to die. Are you serious? You've lived a long enough life. Do you know how hard it is to live in today's economy? Besides, I didn't want you to die. I just wanted you to sign over your assets to me because you'd think that you were nearing death." Wow. Your solution to surviving was to endanger your mother's life? You're a work of art, Damon. Okay, but you're not dead. You're still alive and kicking. There's no need to be so hostile towards me. You're a disgusting person. I never want to see your face ever again. I slammed the door in his face. How could he be so nonchalant about it when he put my life in danger? How could he show absolutely no remorse? I had hoped that there was at least a better reason, but for money? That was the last thing I expected. I mean, if he had just checked for some help financially, I would have given it to him very readily. I cried a lot for the next few days. I kept wondering if he actually confessed to poisoning me, and then I remembered that I had a security camera outside my front door. I checked the footage and heard everything all over again, and then I knew that I never wanted to see Damon ever again. Even so, the fact was that I had lost a son. A part of me wondered if I brought him up the wrong way, which made him resort to such extreme measures instead of just openly talking to me about it. I knew the divorce was hard on him in every aspect, but this was beyond low. After a few days, the sadness and hurt began to ebb away, and a new emotion settled in me: anger. Not only had he poisoned me, but he also put June in danger. If something had to have happened to me, what were the chances that he would take the blame for it? If he was willing to poison his mother for money, why wouldn't he throw his daughter under the bus for it? I knew that I needed to protect June at all costs, so I reached out to her privately and explained to her what had happened. June was horrified at what her father had been intending to do and began apologizing profusely. She kept telling me she had no idea and at some point was bawling on the phone. I managed to calm her down and reassure her that I was not mad at her at all. I told her that I wanted her to come live with me because, in my eyes, her father was a danger. June readily agreed to that, and I told her that we'd figure out the details of her moving in soon. After that call, while I was trying to figure out how to get June to move in with me without Damon making a fuss, I realized that I wanted Damon to feel even bigger repercussions for what he did to me. So I emailed the hospital where Damon worked. I told him about what their employee had done to me and sent them the recording as proof of his admission. I called June after that and told her what I had done. I told her to have her things packed and make an excuse about staying over at a friend's place for a few days because they invited her over. June told me she would be there the next morning. Thankfully, June arrived safely. It wasn't an unbelievable excuse considering her social status at school was pretty well known. Damon didn't think much of it, as it happened quite frequently. I unblocked Damon, and it didn't take long for Damon to call me. "What the hell did you do?" "I have no idea what you're talking about." "You recorded our previous conversation." "I just wanted proof that I wasn't going crazy. I didn't want my heart to ever soften towards you because you were my son." "But you sent it to my hospital. The past few days have just been hell." "Oh, wow, look at that. The consequences of your actions have caught up to you." "They took away my medical license. My only source of livelihood is gone, all because of you. How could you do this?" "If you're so comfortable poisoning your mother, I see no reason for you to be a practicing nurse. They were right for taking it away. Do you even know how hard I struggled for this? In just a moment, everything got taken away." "Do you know how much I struggled to raise you? And for something so selfish, you turned around and thanked me by poisoning me." "What would you have done in my place, huh? June and I were always days away from being on the streets. Now, I don't know what's going to happen." "You could have just asked me if you and June could stay with me. You didn't have to try and steal what was going to be yours anyway. What's going to happen now is that June will come live with me. As for you, I don't care. Figure it out yourself." "You don't take June away from me. She's still a minor." "I could get CPS involved if you like. They'll take one look at your record and I'll get custody. Besides, she's of legal age to make her own decision about which relative she wants to live with. You ruined my life. I should have never come back. No, you should have never tried to do something as stupid as poison your mother. Anyways, if you succeeded, you would not have gotten my property. What are you talking about? Everything I have and own would have gone to June. I never intended for you to have anything. You had established yourself as a grown adult with his own money. I wanted June to have something to her name. You jerk! How could you? Well, goodbye, Damon. All the best with everything. I was happy that Damon was going to face the consequences of his actions. I was glad that I took the step to ensure that he could harm no one else as he had harmed me. June moved in with me that day, and I was also glad that she would be safe from Damon. Damon kept blowing up my phone with messages telling me what a horrible mother I was. It pained me to read those texts. At some point I even questioned my decision to expose him like that. But I knew I did right, if not by myself, by June. She was needlessly put in a position where she would have been put to blame. I blocked Damon for my peace of mind, but that didn't stop him. He began to show up at my house every other day. He would keep banging at the door, demanding that I open it so we could talk. It was around this time that I genuinely began to fear for my life, so I reported him to the police, and I also filed for a restraining order against him. He hasn't bothered us since. I've taken June fully under my wing, and I plan to support her in every way I can. The first thing I did was to put her in therapy. The poor child had gone through so much in such a short span of time, and I thought she could use some help with coping with everything. June has been upset about what her father did and has been profusely apologizing for it. She refused to cook for a long while after she found out about what her dad had done, but I'm slowly reintroducing her to it. It's been a good few months since we left Damon behind, and things are looking up. June got into a few good colleges and she'll be graduating high school in a few months. We're having a lovely time bonding with each other, and we're excited for what the future will look like for us. I don't know what happened to Damon, nor do I care to find out. I'm happy to be alive, and I'm never taking my good health for granted again.